Dredd is coming back apparently with a new movie that's going to delve more into the comic books than it is to the other live-action iterations that we've seen of this character. One of the greatest anti-heroes of all time, both in cinema and comic books, is coming back. Is Karl Urban reprising his role? Because I loved Karl Urban in that role. We all loved Karl Urban as Judge Dredd. But now that he is in the Mortal Kombat movies and probably has a contract with Warner Brothers about that, and then he's got to finish up with The Boys, I don't actually know what his availability is with this role. And besides that, I don't know if the studios have plans for him to return as Dredd. And guess who's directing this movie? Guess who has signed on to direct the newest Dredd? TAIKA Waititi. Now don't leave! A lot of people are gonna lose their shit right now, and I'll be real, I was one of them. Taika Waititi, in the eyes of many people, has fallen from grace after the abysmal abortion of a film that was Thor: Love and Thunder. Now, before you leave, I want you to read this quote that I found when researching about this topic. The new Judge Dredd film is said to be aiming for a tone closer to the dark satire side of Dredd's adventures, potentially foregoing some of the previous iterations' hardcore grittiness in favor of Waititi's usual whimsical weirdness. The film is set to be written by Drew Pearce, who wrote The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling and Mission Impossible Rogue Nation fame. So clearly they're going for an action comedy vibe in this film. Now, when it comes to Taika Waititi, I've really enjoyed some of his films like Jojo Rabbit, What We Do in the Darkness, both the movie and aspects of the TV show. We'll get to that. And I am a fan of Thor Ragnarok. I actually really enjoyed that film. I watched it twice in theaters. That's how much I found it entertaining. Thor: Love and Thunder is when we saw the true, unfiltered, unbridled version of Taika Waititi come into the fray with full creative control, and it was a fucking apocalypse of the eyes when I saw it. Now, a lot of people will say this movie is overhated. This film is shit. This film is shit. It's not about, oh, we got too many jokes. Thor Ragnarok arguably had a lot of jokes. Way more. This just was unfunny and tragic in the worst ways possible, okay? And that's when you notice Taika Waititi really thrives when the writing is on point and he doesn't have full helm over that. I believe that Taika Waititi is at his best when he's low-key kind of carried by the writers, all right? And when his directing style infuses with the writing to make a perfect blend. I don't need everything to be dark and gritty myself, okay? I don't need the Dredd movies to be as dark necessarily as Batman 2022 with Robert Pattinson. However, ask yourself this. A campy, more comedic, non-serious Dredd like the Stallone film, which is just... I know people like that movie and it's a cult classic. I can't say this is a good movie. This movie or the 2012 Dredd movie? Which is better? Which was a better watching experience? Which is a better film? Answer honestly. I know there's a lot of old heads, maybe not. Maybe there's a bunch of young people pretending they're old heads who think Stallone's movie's better than this. It's not. Karl Urban's Dredd is superior. It is superior. Not necessarily because it's darker and grittier, it's just a fucking better movie. It's an underrated masterpiece that does take itself seriously. Yes, it has some dark humor here and there, but it is a freaking thriller, action, badass film that is gritty. It has a main character who has Batman level of aura. It has a supporting character who is sexy, but is also written to be a proper female, a strong, proper female, like they should be. This is before the time where Hollywood decided to write females as if they had a chip on their shoulder every 2 damn seconds. This was great. A villain played by Lena Headey, who's, my god, one of the most scary, creepy villains ever. Brutal. Not to mention an entire world that was ripe for world building, yo. It was ripe for it. So much could have been done with Mega City 1, this dystopian post-apocalyptic world. God damn. We didn't get it. But now, this new film is apparently venturing into the comic book aspects of this character and might delve into the lore, which is the one positive sign I do see from this news. But the problem I see, Taika Waititi tends to be very self-indulgent, especially when he's given a lot of creative control. He can't help himself. He just can't. Most of the new stuff that he's done is stuff that he's produced and directed with Rita Ora, his wife. And then there's also Interior Chinatown, which is a TV show that he directed a couple episodes of, but produced mostly. I've seen the entirety of the show, and it starts off well for the first 3 episodes, then it starts to plummet. It becomes very mid. A good concept, but execution was poor. What We Do in the Shadows, that TV show, again, similarly, I like it, but then it gets to the point where it becomes tired and formulaic, and I kind of want to break. Like, I can't do it. Like, I feel like the movie itself, I probably enjoyed that watching experience a lot more, but even then when I was watching that with my friends, I was like, okay, we're kind of over this. There's a certain point where the style of comedy and the writing that Taika Waititi chooses to employ is really nice, it's really fun to watch until it isn't. And that's what I fear could be happening with the new Dredd movie. It's what happened with Love and Thunder. I don't want that to happen again. And it's confirmed that they're going into the comedic route. They say dark comedy. We're gonna get to what that means, okay? Because dark humor, I love dark humor. My favorite kind of dark humor is in movies like this, Get Out, where there's something terrifying happening, but it's done in a way where in certain points you can laugh at it. You can laugh at the situation, and then you have characters like the best friend of our main character who employs comedy when it's needed, to be quite frank. This is not that. I don't know if Taika Waititi knows what dark humor truly is. Because he should. I feel like he's a smart director. He's a grown-up. But, and Thor: Love and Thunder is not the best example to use here, because obviously they're not going for dark humor in this, but man, there's a point where it just gets too much. And you're going to ruin the vitality of the character known as Judge Dredd. Okay? Not to mention the preferential treatment problems that this guy has. If he really likes you or is fucking you, like he did with Tessa Thompson, he was having threesomes with her and Rita Ora on the set and behind the scenes of Thor: Love and Thunder, he will force you into the film, and your it doesn't matter if your character sucks or not, you're just going to be there. I think Tessa Thompson was at her best when the writing was helping her character, like in Creed 1 when she plays Bianca. That's my favorite character she's ever played. In this shit, she's one of my least favorite MCU characters of all time. I think Valkyrie's a terribly written character. She's a shell of a person. She's there to be, look how badass and stoic I am, and I'm too cool for school. That's her. She's a less likable version of Captain Marvel, who people already didn't like that much. Captain Marvel is a freaking angel compared to this chick. But Taika Waititi doesn't give a fuck. He'll put her in there, and I swear to God, if he puts a character like this in the Dredd, it's going to be annoying as hell. I plead you, Taika Waititi, and the producers. I plead you. Please, for the love of Christ. I'm seeing rumors that Pedro is going to be in here. Maybe it's a joke because Pedro's in everything. If Pedro Pascal is cast as Dredd, I will off myself. Or I shouldn't. Oh fuck! I'm going to get demonetized. I'm going to slap Taika Waititi in the face. How about that? How about that? Casting directors, don't do it. I'm sick of this guy. The only thing I want to see him in is in Last of Us, because that show's shit without him, and he's gone from that. Stop casting him in everything. He's a great actor. I have no problem with the actor. Stop it! You're making me like a guy who I had nothing against just because you're shoving in my face every 2 seconds. I haven't even seen The Materialist yet, and I love Dakota Johnson and Chris Evans. Part of me has been scaving it off because I don't want to see this motherfucker again. Because I got to see him in Fantastic Four. Stop it. You're going to cast Carl Urban. You're going to have this, you're going to do, I know they're never going to do this, but I need this to continue that world, that movie. Cast Carl Urban. I don't care if he's older. It doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. He still looks good. He's playing Johnny Cage, for God's sakes. He can still do this. You're going to adapt the Apocalypse War. A portion of the Apocalypse War. Okay? I want to see Mega City 1 going into chaos and a whole block of that with people losing their shit. It's going to be like the Purge, but with a virus added too, because in that, I'm pretty sure there was a virus caused by a drug epidemic. An entire purge in a city with this dude running around trying to stop it. It's gonna be badass. And I need a character like this who can have some comic relief without the entire movie becoming comic relief. Without Dredd himself making jokes and the entire thing becoming so satirical to the point where it all just evolves. That's how you're gonna do it, alright? I need you to listen to me on this, you dumb fucks. Those are my thoughts on that. If you want to know my thoughts on the 2012 Dredd movie, you can watch this video over here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.